So the release of Destro by Mezco has got me pretty psyched about this GI Joe line. Again, I said the other day that I almost didn't even start collecting these, but I'm super impressed with the first one, and more so for Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. But I thought I'd go through real quick and discuss what I'm hoping are, or what, well, I doubt that many of these will make the list, but this would be the top 10 that I would love to see. And many of them I don't believe Mezco will ever create. They'll probably make, maybe, if they're going to continue with this line, they'll probably make 2 a year. There's 4 coming out this year, but they've been in the queue for quite a while. So there's 3 more slated to come out. Whether they do or not will be another matter. Storm Shadow in particular is coming out Q4. I wouldn't be surprised if he slips back to 2024. So anyway, I thought I'd go through my top 10, just mine, and also kind of what I think maybe Mezco might go with. So the first one is, I think, a no-brainer. I don't know how this guy didn't make the top 4, which is Cobra Commander. And not only is he the commander of Cobra, but that's a really cool design. I love that design. And look, you don't even have to do a facial sculpt because it's blank. So the only thing I can figure is that with Destro, unless there was a licensing issue, with Destro, he was the main villain of the first film. Cobra Commander was clearly the main villain of the second film. So that's my number 1 choice. My number 2 choice, and a lot of these aren't, they may seem off the wall. Remember that I only really paid close attention to G.I. Joe in the 80s and then the 2 live action movies. I haven't followed the IDW series and all of the different television programs. So that's what I'm basing my choices on. I kind of think about this, just memorability, how memorable the character is, the character design, how it looked in toy form. You know, characters like Ripcord and Wild Bill, I didn't think their designs were that interesting. So my next choice is actually Spirit Iron Knife. I thought he was a really cool character. I don't know how he's been used since the 80s, but I like the design. He was one of my favorite characters, figures from the 1980s. My next, and apparently this one is more highly regarded than what I would have expected, because I thought he was kind of obscure, but he was fairly prominent in the television show, which is Shipwreck. Again, I really like the design of the character, of the figure, and so that would be my number 3. Next would be, let's see here. Okay, I don't have him on here. Zartan. I guess Hasbro isn't making one. This is a really neat looking series, the classified series. I'm not gonna go out and get a second. Start collecting a second. I'm sticking with Mezco, but these look pretty cool. So Zartan, let's go in here. So there's Zartan. Super 7 did one. Love the design. I love the concept of the character, and he did have a prominent role in both of the live action movies. It would be pretty neat to see Zartan and the 3 Dreadnoks in a sometimes Mezco comes out with a 4-pack. That would be neat. That would be a pre-order for me. Next would be, let's see here. Oh, come on. I guess this one's, I could have sworn this one was on here. All right. Let's try this. Anyway, my next choice is Firefly. Firefly had a prominent role in the second movie. He was actually shockingly difficult to kill. But I really like the design. Another Cobra. Just a neat character, I thought. So that would be my next choice. My sixth choice would be, let's see, should have set this up better. Flint. So there's Flint. I just kind of like the hat, the beret. One of my favorite characters, my favorite figures from when I was a child. All right. And Big Bad Toy Stores have. Okay, so there we go. My next one is Bazooka. Again, love the colors, love the design of the figure. I don't know that he's particularly highly regarded, but I like him. So that would be my number 7 choice. And this one probably, let's see, this one will probably be one that they'll be critical. Okay, so Baroness. If they continue with this line, that's probably going to be one of the early ones coming out. So she's kind of second biggest villain. Well, no, Storm Shadow would be the second biggest, but maybe third biggest, possibly tied with Destro. And then the other female character would be Scarlet from the GI Joes. And then we have, and this is probably one, even though he's at the bottom of my list, he probably is one of the most likely. And okay, so that one's not being made either, which would be Duke. So there's Duke. Now, one of the things you have to understand about GI Joe is that the figures have been around since I think the 1950s in 1/6 scale. Hasbro came out with them re-released in the 80s as a 3.5-inch figure. And the cartoons, the comics, they all played off of the figures. Like Hasbro reached out to those companies to make cartoons and to Marvel to make comics to help them sell the figures. And I know that there were a lot of people that didn't like this idea. And there were a lot of complaints, particularly in the 80s. And so you'd have cartoons like He-Man and My Little Pony, Transformers, and these were all cartoons based off of figures. And so the complaints from parents were that they were basically half-hour commercials, interspersed with commercials. And the reason I bring this up is because Duke was killed in the movie, in the 1987 animated movie. Then they decided not to kill him. So he clearly was stabbed to death, and then they say, oh, he slipped into a coma. And the reason they changed their mind on that was because the death of Optimus Prime went over so badly. And so not only did the poor performance of the Transformers movie cause the G.I. Joe movie to go straight to video, but they reversed course on killing Duke. And why did they want to kill Duke? Because they wanted to sell more figures. Because they wanted the people that wanted Duke to say, oh, well, now Duke's been replaced by Falcon. But as a casual G.I. Joe fan, I would get very confused. Like, who's in charge? Is it Duke? Is it Hawk? Is it Flint? They were kind of, particularly Hawk and Duke, were kind of interchangeable, in my mind, as a casual fan. So Duke, the thing that sets Duke apart is that he was the most prominent, along with Ripcord, character in the first movie. And he did appear in the second movie and then was killed fairly early on. But whether it would be Duke or Hawk or Falcon, they're going to probably make one of those probably pretty soon. So I would say that my guess is that Mezco probably will. I don't see how they can not make a Cobra Commander. They'll probably make a Duke, probably Baroness, maybe Scarlet, Zartan, and then I think anything else would be kind of up in the air. I don't think we'll ever see a Spirit Iron Knife. I don't think we'll ever see a Shipwreck. Maybe Firefly because of his prominence in the second movie. Bazooka, I don't think there's a chance that that would be made unless they continue this line for another 20 years and just slowly dribble out all the GI Joe figures. But anyway, that's my top 10 list: Cobra Commander, Spirit, Iron Knife, Shipwreck, Zartan, Firefly, Flint, Bazooka, Baroness, Scarlet, and Duke. And I'd love to, find out what other people think, what they would like to see from Mezco. So anyway, that's my top 10.